On April 13, Japan announced that it will dump radioactive water from the Fukushima nuclear plant into the ocean. Japan's Minister of Finance Taro Aso even said nothing would happen if someone drinks the wastewater. Ironically, during a visit to Fukushima No. 1 nuclear plant last year, Japan Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga didn't drink the purified water from the nuclear power plant when TEPCO officials told him that the diluted water is drinkable. Japan has been discussing how to handle their radioactive water since 2013. Among 5 options, dumping into the ocean is the cheapest one. The Japanese government is trying to convince the world that the measure is safe. This calls into question. In 2012, German scientists simulated the spreading of contaminated waters over the next decade. According to the model, the whole Pacific Ocean would be polluted within less than 3 years. If Japan dumps the contaminated water 2 years later, the consequences will be horrible. Radioactive elements such as tritium, carbon-14, strontium-90, and iodine-129 will live in the ocean for a long time and be circulated by oceanic currents, and the toxins will be easily concentrated in the food chain. It may cause great harm to people who eat contaminated marine products. Greenpeace's investigation shows carbon-14 has the potential to damage human DNA. Japanese fishermen, consumers and neighboring countries such as China and South Korea expressed their grave concerns and strongly condemned the decision. However, the Western media downplayed the decision. Some tried to rationalize Japan's decision. Swedish environmental activist Greta Thunberg, who is very sharp-tongued on environmental protection issues, has expressed ambiguous attitude toward it. The US even supports the decision, saying it is in accordance with globally accepted nuclear safety standards. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken thanked Japan for its transparent efforts. By contrast, their coverage of the Chernobyl disaster in 1986 was quite different, despite both of the events having been designated the highest level, Level 7, nuclear accidents. In fact, in 2015, 4 years after the Fukushima nuclear disaster, radioactivity was detected off the west coast of Canada and the US. So if Japan finally releases the wastewater into the Pacific Ocean in 2023, it's hard to imagine what kind of consequences it will bring. From another perspective, if China were planning to release 1.25 million tons of radioactive wastewater into the ocean, do you think the West will remain silent as it did with Japan?